the five people that you went to college with at that time, you're gonna end up making them out about the same amount of money. You're gonna end up in the same uh, muscle to fat ratio. You're going to end up with some of the same worldviews. Um, and really, the people you're around can influence you. When people are having success around you, you're more likely to reach a little bit further, to strive a little bit harder, to do a little bit more, to learn from those successes, to be more successful. And so that's why we found with SVS Learn, when we do these courses with a cohort, with these live interactions, with people doing it at the same time, people get so much more success out of it, see much better results than if they're just downloading the information and going it on your own,
Mhm.
going it on their own. We
That's a
got a
good
couple
point.
questions here.
You got more people that are in the same boat as you, and when you're in a cohort of some people will have already published one book, some people are just looking at it for the starting point. It's cool for us too. I'll tell you this little side note is once we run the class and then we start to see these products come out in the world, it
Mhm.
is really really
Mhm.
cool to see that.
And the Discord continues on after this class. So there are conversations going on right now in many of our other classes, um, where those people are forming basically a lot of them are lifetime bonds and friends, people that
Mhm.
they can, um, I mean, they can use this community for bouncing ideas off of, for getting advice. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? That those kind of connections are invaluable, and that's
Hey,
like whenever we
real quick,
self-publish.
sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah.
Will, there's Thomas is saying that um there's multiple echoes and multiple voices. So, but other people are saying that it's good. You may have a couple of windows open. So that's I don't think that I'm not hearing
I'm not
multiple
here.
voices, but you guys let me know. Oh, there we go. Oh wait, YouTube was open. Are we live streaming? You how are you hearing it on YouTube? Like I need to go check our YouTube now to see if are we live?
Oh, it is live streaming now on YouTube for some reason.
Oh no.
It was a 30-minute delay, maybe.
What the heck?
Hi, YouTube audience. Is there anybody over there?
There's
Yeah,
12 people watching it
it
over here.
started
So
2 minutes ago on YouTube.
Oh wow. We're really sorry, you guys over on YouTube. We had some technical difficulties and we didn't think it was working
it's
over there. And so,
how delayed is this? Did it? My question is, did it start from the start in YouTube
No,
for
no,
anybody who
it
has it
just
open?
started in the middle.
so
Okay.
if you
Started.
want, you can go back and, well, we will post this to YouTube and you'll be able to catch the front end of it if you want to.
Oh my gosh, that is so
Wow.
funny. Why in the world would it all of a sudden, after 30 minutes, start live
Yeah,
streaming?
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, we're taking questions over on we'll take questions in the YouTube comments too if there's a couple people over there. But thanks Thomas for pointing that out.
Yeah,
Thomas, if you're in the Zoom meeting, just stay here. Just stay
yeah.
in here.
Yeah, turn off YouTube. So Jaleesa has a question, and Jaleesa is one of our students who just recently published a book. And she says, well, trying to promote my book at bookstores with readings, they right away stated that they do not sell books that are self-published, and only if they can order from Ingram. How do you guys get around that? And so I kind of partially answered this before. I knew that going in with Pickleball Paul. And again, we talk about this in the class that one of the things we really stress in Self-Publishing Pro is that you identify your audience at the same time that you're coming up with ideas to create. So in other words, if I was looking for a children's book to do for a long time, but I couldn't get around the problem that you're outlining here, Jaleesa. And I knew that I needed to sell in places that really wanted my book. And I kicked out a bunch of ideas until the idea of doing a pickleball book, which my wife and I play pickleball every day, sometimes twice a day. We're pickleball nuts right now.
Mhm.
And so we knew tons of people in this community. And that's actually one of the reasons why I felt like the risk was totally worth it, is because we became profitable on that book in the first 6 months. I actually documented that journey on YouTube if you ever want to go and see our numbers over there. But I knew that there were probably 500 or 600 people that I would buy my book that just knew me that played pickleball. So that decreases the risk right there. And then I also knew that I would I had a sales guy who goes to tournaments and sells other things, and he wanted to sell my book. So with that, armed with that, that's what kind of tipped me in the favor of going down this road, because I knew there was really low risk in not becoming profitable. And so when I said earlier we're making $400 or $500 a month, that's where we've been in the black now for almost a year. So that's every month just a little bit of extra income. And so that's what that is. But as far as getting around um bookstores, that's really a tough thing, because there are so many children's books that are self-published that are horrible. And I would guess, even I would say, Jaleesa, for every book that, like what you would make, where you've had illustration training and illustration classes and writing experience and all that, there's probably 20 or 50 books that, someone just went to a vanity press and, paid a couple $1,000s to get 3 or 4 or 500 books, and they're just awful, you know. And so if I'm a bookstore, I kind of have to make a general policy of, we just don't do self-published books, because most of them just aren't any good. Um, so yeah, like what we try to stress in the class is creating something um for a market where you're going around that system. You're selling in other places.
Hmm.
I'll tell you this. Let me add to this too about why it's a good thing that they don't take your book. The bookstore's business model, is the absolute worst business model on the planet. If you haven't heard how bookstores work and why they all died, is that their business model is they order enough to fill up, a whole wall of shelf space.
Hmm.
Maybe they order 100 books, maybe they order 50, whatever that number is. It's arbitrary, because whatever they don't sell, you agree to take back
Yeah. And that's why they
100%.
won't work with most self-publishers too. You're right. And that's
Right.
why
And
they want
so,
Ingram, because Ingram takes the books back.
Hmm.
right, exactly. That's exactly right. And so just because it ends up in a bookstore, it's I mean, the return, it can crush a business. If you think you made a certain amount of money because they took 20 bucks or 50 bucks and you get 49 of them back, and you're like, wait a second.
Hmm.
And then you may have to pay shipping and all that
Yeah,
stuff
you
too.
pay
So you don't
shipping.
want to really, in that bookstore, that model, stay as far away from a traditional bookstore as you can. That doesn't mean stay away from indie bookstores. And we'll talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that. Like, there's lists of independent bookstores, and they actually do the responsible thing, which is, hey, I think I can sell 5 books. Here's money, and give me
Yeah.
5 books. And you're done with
Right.
them. They don't send it back.
And we also have a couple sections on selling on Amazon. There's
Right.
some real strategy to selling, excuse me, on Amazon. If you It's an interesting thing, and again, we talk about this a lot in the class, which is, um, I want to make a book about monsters under the bed. Well, monsters under the bed is probably one of the most common book ideas that people have, because every kid is afraid of monsters under the bed. So every mom or dad that has had kids, that's a part of their story, right? That's a part of their life experience. So a lot of them want to write about it. And if you go to a SCBWI conference, the editors will say, we're not publishing any more monster in the bed books. Don't even write them, right?
Hmm.
Is it possible to write one that could do really well? Yes, if it had a twist like no other, if it was something so provocative that your audience, people have to find out what it's about because it's so unique.
Right.
But on Amazon, those are the people that are killing it on Amazon, are the people that have figured out either to come up with a title that's so provocative that people can't help but want to see it.
A good example of
Or
that is, I mean, not to be crass, but if you guys have heard of the book Go the F to Sleep,
yeah,
there's a million books about kids going to bed and whatever. So somebody wrote a sort of satire book about an adult who's just fed up and they just want their kids to go to sleep. Go the F to sleep.
It's like the
And
opposite of
it,
Goodnight Moon.
Right.
yeah,
And that's a book for
exactly.
adults. But
How much do you think that book made? I mean, there was, I saw Samuel Jackson reading it live.
yeah.
So it just
They
got,
couldn't
it was
keep it in
massive because it
they
was
couldn't
such a,
keep it in stock in the beginning.
yeah,
It
Mhm.
it
was
was
it would
just
sell
such a
every run
unique
would sell
take.
out.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say that on Amazon, another thing that people do is they find medium-sized search niches, and we talk about this in the course as well a little bit. Um, where and there's ways to do this on Amazon where you can find out you're not competing with the you're not going to be competing with the most searched for, because those are so hard to get on the first or second page. And by the way, on Amazon, you've got to be on the first or second page to do well. I can actually let me just share my screen really quick right now.
Hey, while you're doing that, I'm going to answer this question from Dennis. Is there a discount for students who took Children's Book Pro? There absolutely is. I'm going to type in it's $100, and I'm going to type in the email. Just send an email to support@svslearn.com to get that discount if you've already taken a pro course.
I actually
Right.
haven't looked at this in a while,
They'll
so
give you the discount code
The bro deal.
for it. Yep.
The pro deal, I guess, is what it really is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a search pickleball book, okay, and see if my book is on the first page. It used to be. I don't know if it still is. Now, this is just general. This isn't
There it is.
children's books.
Just past
Where?
it.
Where?
Scroll up right there.
Oh, yeah, right there. Yeah, so it's on the first page. So this is really good. This is what you want um to be on the first page. But my problem with Pickleball Paul is I sell every day on Amazon. Um I sell the softback of it. Let's just look real quick here. Um and but the niche is a little too small. And that's kind of one of my problems. But we talk about this in the class too. So this month, September, just started. But if I look at um, my year to date, let's see, um, orders. And I go lifetime. So I've sold 1,700 of between the pickleball Paul and the missing
Pretty
tile.
good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
And the royalties on that would be around $6,000, and so that actually really offset the the hardcover book. Again, we talk about strategies on using Amazon to go direct, um, where you're not paying any money at all to
Hmm.
publish on Amazon. And I incurred thousands of dollars to buy the hardcover books, and these sell for a lot more than the soft covers. But anyway, we get into all that in the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
There's
do a deep
a few
dive.
questions. I got one on YouTube here from Raj, and he says, "Does this class offer suggestions of places to get things manufactured, plus how to run a Kickstarter and market it well?" Oh boy, do we have you covered. We have one of the most, I think, comprehensive get you started on Kickstarter session of lectures that I think you'll find based on all of our experience doing Kickstarters. 3 whole weeks are devoted to marketing. And for those of you who missed the earlier part of the live stream, we get into how to build an audience, how to borrow an audience, and how to build an audience. And those are the three sort of the three-prong approach to marketing your book. And then as far as finding places to get manufactured, we go into how do you find a place to get manufactured? How do you get a quote? What kind of things to look out for? What kind of things to watch out for? And so that you don't sound like a noob when you're reaching out to a manufacturer, that you sound like someone professional who they can trust, because they're fielding requests all the time, and they can immediately spot the person who's not serious from the person who's like ready to rock and roll.
Mhm.
And we get you to that point from this course to where you really are coming across as a professional. not, because you are bringing professionalism to it from the things that we're teaching. We've got a few other questions too, and I kind of want to get
Hey,
into
real quick,
these.
I wanted to go into because there's sort of people dancing around this question, but I wanted to make kind of an overview
Go
question and
for it.
answer of who is the ideal candidate for our class. And in my opinion, because you may be sitting there wondering, is this class right for me? What do I do? So the ideal person in this class and time frame and everything is someone with a clear vision and a unique idea on something, whether it's a sticker pack or a book or whatever you got to do. But somebody with an interesting idea. That's step one. Step two is you have I think probably a minimum of 6 month lead time. You maybe you've started to make this project, maybe you still got production to do, but it's 6 months out from when you're actually going to make it, because that is sort of the pace that our class is going to take. It's only 10 weeks of video, but each week is so packed with things like building your audience that you can't just press a button and all of a sudden you have the audience. There's a building time. And so, in my opinion, if somebody has a great idea and they're 6 months away from making that thing, that's a pretty good time frame to go through our course,
Hmm.
understand what your route is, depending on the project that you are doing, and then implement. Would you guys agree with that?
Ideally, yeah, exactly. Like if you are thinking, oh, it is September in 2024, I really want to launch a project before the end of the year, you're already too late.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking, I want to be able to in 2025 have 2025 be my year. That's the year where I publish this thing that I've been wanting to work, that I've been dreaming about, thinking about. The time to start plans for that is right now. That's the reason we offer this course. We offer this course twice a year, one in the early part of the year and one in the later part of the year. And that is so that the early part of the year people can have something ready to go by the end of the year, and the later part of the year people can have something ready to go the next year later. So, one of the things we emphasize on this too is like this, just like Lee was saying, like this whole thing there's like a runway to get that plane off the ground, right? You can't just pop right up. And so we're helping you figure out how to build that runway, how to get enough airspeed and essentially have a powerful enough engine so that you can get off and get going. The other thing I want to point out too is I don't know how many of you run your own business or are self-employed. Even if you're not self-employed, this is technically classified as professional development. And so if you talk to your accountant about this, this could be something that you could have as a tax write-off as well, because we know that this isn't a cheap course. This is a $800+ course, right? And of course, we have discounts for people who have taken our other courses, but and we also have a payment plan if you need to spread out that payment over a couple months. But this is an investment. This is an investment in yourself. You're investing not just money, but time. But what we've seen is that me personally, when I invest time in something like this, not only does it save me time because I'm not having to scour the internet and like take people out to lunch to pick their brain, but essentially I'm getting all like served to me on a platter. Here it is. Here's all the information, cut through all the crap. And if ever at a moment I'm like, this is overwhelming or I have no idea, just I need help, there's the call every week where you call in, we have the Q&A session, and you just get in there and ask a question and we talk to you and answer whatever it is that's stressing you out that week or you're curious about and whatnot.
And we
And
and
then
we
on top of
change
that,
we
you have
change as
the
we
you
go
have the
too.
Discord. What's that?
I was just going to let them know that we change as we go too. As technology
Mhm.
changes, this class is not a software class where we're teaching you, oh, here's every button in Kickstarter and what you need to press and how to do it. It's not a specific thing like that. It's really a mentality of how to do this, regardless of the avenue. Like if Kickstarter goes down, this class does not become useless. It's the same steps over and over. And we'll add to it as resources become available. For example, I sent Jake and Will this thing the other day, Print Ninja, which is a great sort of hybrid resource between printing domestically and printing in
Mhm.
China, which is typically cheaper to print in China, but difficult. So Print Ninja is sort of a mid-tier printer that's easy to work with, costs a little more. They just recently came out with a short run print option. Normally, you have to get 500 units or more in order to be cost effective and for them to want to do it. But they now do runs that are short run, soft cover at this point, but soft cover, short run. You can do 100 books and not have to do 500 books. And they just came out with that price, and you can get instant quotes. And so we're going to update the class to include this new option that Print Ninja has. So we change as things change.
I want to highlight something that speaks to that as well. If you're thinking if this class is for you or this course is for you, one thing, there's people who need like, if you are trying to get to someone's house, right? There's people who want the specific turn left at this street, turn right at this street, go for 500 yards, turn left here, right? Specific instructions. And then there's people who are like, just give me a map, show me where I'm on the map, and show me, where the destination is. I'll figure out how to get there. This class leans more towards we're showing you the map, the lay of the land. We're showing you, oh, there is a very deep river right here that you don't want to you want to avoid, and there's a bridge over here. You probably want to take that route, right? There's a mountain over here, there's a swamp over here, that kind of stuff. Because once you have a map and the landscape changes a little bit, you're better prepared to do it. If you don't have a map and you just have instructions and the river changes course, you're screwed. Like you don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
And so this course is designed to either lean into that mindset where you are already wanting the map approach to it, or shift your mindset into how can I pivot? How can I learn from mistakes? How can I learn from other people's mistakes? But how can I like get to where I want to be in an ever changing landscape?
Yep. Let's go ahead and answer some more of these questions. I want to hit that one that Robert just said because it's an interesting one. Do you recommend being a full-time artist to take the class? I have a project I've been working on, but only have a couple of hours each night to work on it. I would rather it be that model than somebody saying, "Hey, I quit my job and I'm all in on this self-publishing."
Yeah.
That's a huge risk to do that. This is not again, we lay out all the steps, but it's not easy. It's a sort of, like I said, a marathon. So I prefer somebody being in the situation that you're in, Robert, where you've got a couple hours tonight, each night to work on it. And that's fine. Like we were talking about a few minutes ago, it's a long runway and it's better to have the time. I'll spend 3 hours making the product one night. I'll spend 3 hours the next night researching Facebook groups. 2 hours a day is more than I spend on my project. I don't know about you guys, but like if I can have every day 2 hours a day, I will finish any project. It's pretty easy with that kind of consistency. So no, you don't have to be an 8 hour a day person to do this kind of thing. So easy question to answer. You're in a great spot in that situation.
The beauty of this class is that with using technology that we have now is like if you took a class at a university and a lot of the course materials being given in lecture format and you couldn't make those classes, you are going to be wasting your time and money because you're not going to be getting everything. Ours are laid out in videos. So, and you'll have access to those long after the class is over. So you can essentially do it at your own pace. The only reason we put it into weeks was to kind of have a start and an end time and to give people a reasonable amount of time to go through the material so that they can ask questions each week. So that some people have found, life happens and they don't have as much time to spend on the class, but they can still attend that Q&A session, even if they didn't get through all the material that week. And then they can go back and look at that material and watch that material another time. So it's really self-paced. And there is no like checking up on you. There's no homework to turn in. And so really the only advantage of getting everything done during the weeks that are allotted is so that you can ask intelligent questions in the Q&A sessions.
Right. Yep. I'm gonna let you in. I didn't ask these guys if I could say this beforehand, so I'm just gonna let you know a little secret that after this class is over with, we are working on a system to have those weekly Q&A sessions still available for people by joining another or like an expanded community of workers. So if you're like, well, I don't know, you know, 10 weeks from now, I still might have another question. 2 months from now, 3 months from now, I still might have another question. We're going to have that option available for you as well. For
Because we know that people can't get through everything
exactly.
Yeah,
in the
new questions come up all the time.
Yeah.
Like this question from Emma. Hi guys, I'm trying to decide between KDP and holding my own inventory. I'm starting with coloring books. That's a great choice. I'll make more money per unit printing my own, and I'll be able to capture customer info. Community building is a big hurdle, of course. But I'm super daunted by managing shipping and handling. Plus, it's a big upfront cost. How would you think through this? I would think of that in two stages. The first is the reality of how many you're sending out. I agree with you. It's daunting. If you're sending out 500 a week, you probably want to give that to somebody else. But so the first step would be, what is your true demand going to be? How much can you handle? What's realistic for storing at your place and then shipping out? Just a small shipping station in your basement or in an extra room or an office or something like that. You don't need a ton of space. I've seen Jake's assistant preparing stuff while Jake's doing the podcast in the background, getting stuff ready to send. That said, for my Kickstarter, when a ton of stuff had to go out, I did what's called drop shipping, where I sent a bunch of books to a shipping service. And then as orders came in, they shipped them. I never had to do anything. I didn't have to wrap them up. I didn't have to put tape on them. I didn't have to do anything. And that was by far an easier choice. But like you said, it costs, there's either, effort and time, or there's money. And so nothing is free. I had to pay for that service. But when 500 units are going out in a week, I want someone else doing it. I don't want to do that.
Let me jump in on this really quick. Just show you guys something. So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the game that I'm launching right now, one of the ways I can move forward confidently, and I'm thinking of you, Emma, is, and I don't know what kind of coloring book you're making, but I'm making a Christmas game for people who love Christmas. And I'm part of my research was going on Facebook and seeing what kind of groups there are. 500,000 people in this group right here, 30,000, a million, another 500,000 and a 500,000. I mean, these groups are massive. Okay. And there's a way to market to them without breaking the rules of these groups, by soft suggesting your product, and just saying, hey, I'm really excited that I made this thing without any buy links or anything. And you can tell people to DM you in the comments. A few of these groups might not like it, but most of them really like things that are specific to their audience. And so that's part of our marketing. One of our marketing strategies is to join all of these groups. And when we're closer to launch on our Kickstarter, maybe a week before, we will start posting in there and getting people into our pre-launch campaign. But this is why, when again, I don't know what kind of coloring books you have, but the market should dictate, like you should be able to say to yourself, okay, I know exactly who's going to love this thing that I'm making. And when they see it, they're not going to be able to resist buying it. And that will help you answer the question, I think, of like, do you take on the risk yourself? You might even want to start using Facebook groups like that to start posting single images that are printable, and seeing how many people are, are you speaking to a specific audience? If it's a general audience for, for kids, just any coloring book page that's just a fun image to draw, you're going to have a harder time. Because as a parent, why do I need your coloring book page when my kids already have a bunch, right? So that in making a Christmas game, I didn't want to just make any Christmas game. I wanted to shake the box and say, this is different. All the characters are angry, and there's a backstory to that. and it's going to shake people up who love Christmas because they've never seen this kind of a Christmas game before, an angry Christmas game, right?
Right.
All right,
Cool.
let's get to, can we go to the next question? So this is
Yeah,
Thomas's.
let's do it.
I do have a book that I would like to publish immediately upon completing the course. Over the past 50 years, I've worked many roles: creative director, art director, illustrator, designer. Oh, good. So you've got all the skill sets to do your own project for sure. What is the minimum of my book I should complete at the outset of the Kickstarter launch? Is it like doing a pitch to a publisher? That's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that, because that has changed over the years a little bit. I think earlier on in Kickstarter, people would have projects sort of 50% finished or something like that. It's never a good idea, in my opinion. And I'd like to hear what Jake and Will say, but doing a Kickstarter when the project is half done makes people nervous to back your project. They think, oh, is it going to get finished? What's the finish going to look like? Am I going to like it? Is this person just going to take my money and then never finish the product?
There's been too
So,
many projects that haven't gone through where people have been burned and never got their reward.
right.
And so
Yeah.
now you're right, Lee. It's metamorphosized into a place to announce your project that you're ready to print and you're just taking orders for it. So
Right.
unfortunately, Thomas, you're coming to Kickstarter at a time when people do expect the project to be done. I'm even getting like I've gotten 10 comments on my Facebook ads for like, this is just another Kickstarter scam, and then I go in and I have some good answers for them, some credentials and stuff to
Mm-hmm.
post. But that's if you're not done, it really scares a lot of people away.
And they get mad waiting too. So you may think that your project's going to take, we all know how projects go, right? You think it's going to take
Right.
3 months, but it takes 6, and they are angry.
You got people that are angry with you the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this, like, if if it's 50% or 75% done, be very um open about that. Like, communicate where you're at with the project on there, just so the expectations are in the right place for it. And say,
Hmm.
hey, I've drawn out this comic. The colorist that I want to hire to color this comic is going to cost $5,000. So part of the funding for this is to pay my colorist,
Yeah.
right? And when people see it through that lens, they understand, oh, and the date is clearly said, we're going to deliver in 6 months. People can roll with that, I think. As long as you communicate, and the better track record you have. So like 3 Kickstarters down the line, 4 Kickstarters down the line, you say, this is a concept idea, and if it funds, then I'm going to go make it, and it's going to take me a year.
Hmm.
Um, then people, at least your fans who are familiar with you, there's trust there. And they understand, okay, I could wait a year. Yeah, I want to help this project out. But when you're just starting out, and I would say even not when you're not just starting out, to have it finished like these guys are saying is a really good idea. It's less stressful too, but
Yeah.
it does put the risk on you to a little more risk on you, that the idea that you're working on at day and night or on weekends or whatever is gonna, pay out. That's
Yeah.
why we help you come up with, we show you sort of a plan of how to generate an idea, how to ideate in a way that it is going to be successful.
And Thomas says, what about Jed Henry's block prints? If you guys haven't seen those, Jed Henry's a friend of ours who did
Hmm.
Ukiyo-e Heroes, and you can look that up on Kickstarter. And for a long time, his was the highest funded art project at over $300,000. And
Yeah,
you're
man.
right, Thomas, but his was like 10 years ago. Like he wasn't finished. And we're not saying that you can't be successful. It's just that it's like it's a dampener for some people. So like let's say your Kickstarter would have raised, this is just a total guess. Let's say your Kickstarter would have raised a couple 100,000. If it was finished, maybe it only raises 150 or 100,000 because it's not finished,
Well,
So
there's the other thing that has to do with trust. I mean, we're giving out general advice for this, and so in general, you want to have your
Hmm.
project finished. It really depends on the artist. If somebody says, well, I'll give you 2 examples here. there's a band down the street from my house and they're doing a Kickstarter. They haven't completed any music for the album, but they want you to back the album. That's example one. Example two is Radiohead is doing a new album and wants you to pitch in before the album's done. Which one are you going to trust? Right?
Yeah.
Radiohead has this huge following. So if you're an artist where you have a huge following, a huge history, people
Mhm.
already trust you because you're part of a community. You're showing up at cons, you're already selling something else that they've or could have already bought. You're going to have a ton
Yeah.
easier time than somebody who is just getting started. It's your first self-publishing project. So those two artists are not the same,
Yeah.
right? And so we're
Mhm.
giving general advice. But when it comes to specifics, if you say, hey, I've got a following of 1 million people and this is my 5th Kickstarter, do I need to be done with it? Nope. You'd be
Yeah.
fine.
I would say I spent an hour with Thomas. He's pretty like really accomplished and even
Mhm.
made some programming for Adobe Illustrator.
Oh, cool.
So maybe you have the trust and the clout and enough, where you can talk to the right people to where you don't fall in the same category as like me. I'm making a game for the first time and no one in the gaming world knows me. In fact, I had somebody come from Board Game Geek, which is Board Game Geek. If you don't know, it's a website that's basically like the IMDb for games, for board games and card games. And I had a guy who started like he polluted my one of my Facebook ads with I'm pretty sure this is a scam, you guys. And I had to work with this guy. I'm like, hey, educate me why you think it's a scam because it's definitely not. And we had some really good back and forth emails. And he's the one who got me going on getting it listed on Board Game Geek, and also think like he's like, well, you need to put more posts on your Facebook page. He caught me the day our Facebook page went live, and there was no posts on it. He was like, it's an empty Facebook page. It's this, that, and the other. So, yeah, like, and you're talking about Thomas of like using your audience to help you with the Kickstarter, and maybe your situation is so unique and different that it doesn't really fall. But for
Right.
me, with my first game, I needed to make sure it was totally finished because I don't have a track record in games at all.
Yep. Cool. Question about shipping here from Jonathan. Shipping is terrifying to me, mainly because I haven't really done much of it. Is there a lesson in the course that will cover how to calculate your shipping based on whether it is something small like a card game or something as advanced as a collection of books and stickers? My worry is mainly figuring out how to ship everything once it's been manufactured. We devote an entire week to what we call distribution, like how to get your book out there and specific lecture on the shipping process. So you're gonna be just fine there. Um, and then I'm just gonna check YouTube again to see if there is.
I think Anthony
Uh,
Wheeler's over there on YouTube. So Anthony last time was joining us in
mhm.
Self-Publishing Pro because we meet with you guys once a week. And sometimes it's in the evening and sometimes it's in the morning. We're trying to accommodate people with different time zones. And Anthony was one of our dudes that was helping us out. He's published a ton of different stuff as well.
Yeah. Yep. And then someone asked if this is going to be available in the spring. We will be running it again in no, we don't have a month nailed down yet, but it is going to be probably 6 months from now. So like we were saying, if your goal is to launch a project by the end of this year, you're too late. If your goal is to launch a project mid-year in 2025, you better start working on it right now. And this class is designed to help you get ready to do that, to get you set up and in a good spot so that you can launch and have success with that. Um, is that it? Do we have
I think that's it.
any
I
other
hope we
ones?
answered your questions. I mean, we know you all have projects kind of brewing around in your head, and maybe now's the time to get them out in the world.
Yeah,
Looking
it's gonna
forward
be
to
awesome.
seeing a bunch of you in the class. I know some of you have already signed up, and so we love doing this. It's
Yeah,
fun.
It's
we
cool.
do. We
So,
got about 30 people signed up so far, so we'd love to get a couple more of you to join us. before
fun.
enrollment closes next week. So selfpublishingpro.com. And yeah, we'll hope to see you then.
All right. Bye, you guys.